Hi, a very warm welcome to Dusty Shelf Collectibles. Today, general steam navigation. Yeah, hi, welcome back. As you may have seen, a couple of weeks ago I did a video on the new Sir Nigel Gresley Hornby 00 Retro Loco. Yeah, as I said in the title, both overwhelmed and underwhelmed. The model's fantastic. I love it. It looks great. Quality control, a little bit questionable to say the least. There's a couple of issues with it, which I found as I was unboxing. So on the first video I noticed there was rough edges down either side of the tender, and then I did a subsequent video where I sort of compared it to the older sort of 00 locos, and as I was filming that I noticed that the banding on the boiler, the paint was all over the place. Included a couple of pictures here. Now the response to those videos was absolutely amazing. I mean, the first one got 13,000 views. When I started this channel, this was just for a little bit of fun for me, and I was expecting 2 or 3 viewers, and suddenly, you know, there's 13,000 people watching it from all over the world. It was quite overwhelming, actually. The comments that came back were fantastic. There was so much information about the Gresleys, and you know, and people, you know, really, you know, interested in the subject, and it was just amazing to read them all. So thank you to everybody that messaged in. Anyway, the outcome of that was that I wanted to keep the Loco. I didn't want to send it back, and I responded to most people saying that I would contact Hornby, and I did. I wrote to Hornby and sort of politely expressed my displeasure. In the response I got back from Hornby, it makes it very clear that I'm not to, you know, it's the usual thing on the bottom of the email: this is a private mail, you can't relay this to anyone else. So I'm going to be very careful what I say here, because I don't particularly want to be sued. So what I will say, the first response I got back from Hornby was totally inadequate. I mean, it was not good. So I politely wrote again, and yeah, we've kind of, you know, I'm satisfied that this is concluded. I am keeping the Loco. I won't go into details over what was said in the mail, but yeah, Hornby have sort of apologised, and you know, I'm keeping the Loco. Like I say, it's a beautiful runner. It's a beautiful thing to have. I'm very lucky, and I'll try and look past the little blemishes on it. But we'll leave that there. As I say, you know, I'm not sure what I can and can't say, but I'm satisfied. So yeah. So the purpose of this video, was this a one-off? So I do have another Hornby 00 in the collection, which is this, which is, as I said in the introduction, general steam navigation. And this has never been opened. I bought it in 2021. And it's been mint in box since. It sits in the cabinet on display in the box. I've never opened it. I've never thought to even check it. It's one of those collector's pieces that, you know, it sits on display in the box. So what I thought I'd do is, well, this one I was overwhelmed and underwhelmed. Does the sort of theme run into the other ones? I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit apprehensive, because I you know, for the money these cost, I want them to be perfect. So I'm going to do a review on this one, I think, and I film it as I unbox it, and as I have a look through, and yeah, see what condition this one's in. Obviously this is a couple of years old now, so there's no discussion about sending it back. It is what it is. But I'm kind of hopeful that this, hoping that this was just a one-off, and yeah, I may have just got one of a bad batch, or maybe first off a run in the morning, and yeah, it was just one of those things. But yeah, anyway, let's go and have a look at this. So a few years ago in 2020, Hornby had their centenary celebration. They launched a whole range of these centenary products, and amongst those they had their O-gauge Loco, sort of a remake of the first Hornby Loco. They launched the Rocket, they launched the APT in there, and also the sort of highlight, if you like, of that range was the introduction of the 00. Now, if I can just find the page on here. So this catalogue is actually from 2021, but in 2020 they released a version of this loco, the Coronation class. The original one, the first one that they did, very first release, limited to 250 items, and that was the Duchess of Atholl. In 2021 they re-released the Coronation class. This one was, sorry, forgive me, it's the City of Leicester, and this was limited to 500 locos. And then they released 2 Bullied Pacifics. So again, with the die-cast bodies in the 00 range. This was new to the range in 2021. Now, I would have loved to have bought all 3 of them. I just simply haven't got the money for that. So I chose one, and I chose General Steam, or General Steam Navigation, I should say, which is the one you see here. Now, it turned up, I think, I'm trying to remember, probably about 6 months later. So this was released in January. I put the order in straight away. It sold out very, very quickly. Limited to 500, but still sold out. And I had my order in good time, so that I did secure one of these. And basically it got delivered maybe 6 months later, maybe a little bit longer than that. And when it arrived, to my shame, I put this on the shelf. It didn't just go up on the shelf, it was on display in the box. And I've kept it mint in box. I haven't opened it, I haven't checked it. I've just literally, I slid the sleeve off just to check it was in there. Once I could see it was in there and hadn't been dropped or whatever, that was it, and I wanted to keep it mint in box. But having seen the Gresley, I'm now, a little bit concerned that I've been keeping this mint in box, and actually, is this potentially as, I'm going to use the word bad as the Gresley? I mean, is this a running theme on these, these 00 locos? So the sort of essence of this video is kind of an unboxing on here. I haven't looked at it. I don't know what I'm going to find. I'm expecting it to be perfect, the same as I did with the Sir Nigel Gresley, and I'm hoping I'm not going to be disappointed. So yeah, let's take this over to the bench. Let's have a look inside, and fingers crossed that it's in good as condition as I hope it should be. Right, so we again have the blue packaging, which as we found out before was traditionally associated with 3-rail. The red packaging back in when Dublo was on the market was associated with the 2-rail, but again Hornby have gone with the blue packaging on here, and you can see here we've got the traditional sort of Hornby logo here. It says 2-rail, 00 gauge, and you can see it's R3971 locomotive and tender, general steam navigation. And then round the box it gives some information about the Hornby brand. So the brand name Hornby 00 first appeared in 1938, but was not until the late 1940s that the 00 brand really started to make its mark. The Hornby 00 locomotives were produced in die-cast metal, while their tenders, if fitty, were manufactured in tin plate. That is really interesting. And then in the later years, injection moulded plastic. Yeah, okay, that's really interesting. I didn't see that on the Nigel Gresley box. We'll go and see if it says that on there. All new 00 models continue to be produced in this way, so a little bit ambiguous there. Which one is it? Are they tender going to be die cast, or is it going to be plastic? I mean, we probably know it's already going to be plastic. So there's some more information here about the loco. So 21C11 general steam navigation entered service in 1944, wartime black livery. Naming ceremony took place in February 1945 at Waterloo Station, where it was named by the chairman of the General Steam Navigation Company. It was initially allocated to 9 Elms Shed, but was later moved to Bournemouth and the Exmouth Junction. Upon nationalisation, General Steam was renumbered 35011. As with all members of the class in 1959, 3011 was rebuilt without the air smooth casing and fitted with a conventional valve gear, plus many other changes, and remained in service till 1966, before being sold to Wood & Brothers in Barry in March 1967. Do a little bit more on the history of this loco because it's quite interesting in a little bit. Anyway, let's slide it out of the box. Actually, let's just have a look on the back here. So there's just information on here about it not being suitable for children. There's not really anything else on the back there. Right, let's slide it out the casing. Let's have a look inside. As I say, I haven't opened this, since it arrived several months ago. So this is, yeah, not sure to what to expect. I'm really hoping this is going to be perfect. Right, let's lift the lid off. Well, first impressions is it does really look the part. Wow. Right. Let's see if we can slide this out of here. I'm going to take the whole of the foam out because I don't want to damage the box. Right, let's lift that out of there. Right, there's the little instruction book. So about small details, additional brake rods, television suppression, strangely mentioned again. Yeah, just the general, you can see the additional parts here. So we've got, you know, the coupling. I did see the brake rods on the other side. Tells you how to fit the. Oh, this is interesting. So this does actually have the electrical connection across the tender. So it hasn't got that new style coupling that was on the Gresley. This is the older style where you've got the wires between the two. And obviously you can see a fitted drain cocks and things to be added. So that's that. And then let's slide this out the box. So this is, again, it's the lovely Hornby packaging. I do like this packaging actually. It's, you know, it does sort of present the model nicely to you. There's your packet of additional extras. I'm not going to put any of those on at the moment. I'll just move those to one side. And then what we do is we unclip it at this end, rotate this around, and the model is just simply presented to us, which is lovely. Right. Lift this out of here. Right, let me just lift this up gently so you can see underneath there that the tender is coupled to the loco with a connecting bar. There's actually a little piece of foam in there. I will take that out very quickly. Right, that's that out of there. Absolutely stunning. I cannot see a single blemish on it at all. There's no marks on the side of the tender. The lining looks absolutely perfect. Still got a fixed rear pony truck, so that's not articulating, and there's no flanged wheels on there. I didn't actually see any flanged wheels in the box. Maybe that's something new. Yeah, there's no flanged wheels in the box. So obviously, if you're displaying this, you won't have the flanged wheels on there. It does look really, really good. The windows on the tender do still seem a little bit of an afterthought, but that's just me being really picky. As I say, I'll just lay it on its side. So the cab is all decorated. The nameplate looks perfect, and you can see the lining. I'll get some really close-up pictures of this in a minute, but the lining is absolutely spot on. Let's have a look at the other side. There's no blemishes at all, and again, no marks on the tender. The lining is absolutely perfect. Wow, how different this is. Sprung buffers on the front and the rear. What a work of art, really is. Okay, let's take this over and let's get some close-up pictures. So Oliver Vaughan Snell Bullhead was the chief mechanical engineer of the Southern Railway in 1937, and before that he was the assistant of Nigel Gresley on the LNER. In 1938, permission or authorisation was given for 10 new engines. They eventually emerged from Eastleigh in 1941, and these were the 462 Merchant Navy Pacific class, of which this is one of them. This particular one, General Steam Navigation, was the first of the second batch of 10. So yeah, as I say, this was the first 10 were in 1941. This was the second batch, and this entered service in December 1944. And I mentioned previously it was in wartime black at the Nine Elm Shed. So originally known as 21C11, after the formation of British Railways, it was renumbered 35011, retaining its lined malachite green. This was the only one of its class that wasn't repainted into the British Rail blue. After the formation of British Rail, the air smooth casing was removed and conventional running gear was set to all of the class, and they remained in service until 1966. In 1967, General Steam Navigation made its way to Barry Island scrapyard, and I've spoken about the Wooden Brothers and how a lot of locos ended up there. And this was sort of the beginning of the preservation that we know today. Most of the locos, or at least a lot of the locos that we see running now, came out of the scrapyard at Barry Island, and thankfully, you know, the guys that ran it had the foresight not to start cutting them up and sold them off to preservation. Finally left Barry Island in 1983. It was moved all over the place, but essentially became it got transferred to the current General Steam Navigation and Locomotion Restoration Society. That's a mouthful. In 2016. In April 2019, it was moved to the current home, which is the Swindon and Crickerdale Railway, where it's now under cover for the first time since 1966 and undergoing restoration. I read with interest that basically this, where it's come out of the scrapyard and been moved around, it doesn't have its valve gear. So there's an opportunity here. They can either build it as a restoration, which is, you know, post-BR conversion, or they can build it as originally built, which is sort of a missing link in all of the lineup that we have in preservation. So I think the intention here is to go back to the original design, restore this to the original design, not the post-BR one, and then also to put the air smooth covering back on the sides. So quite an interesting project, and it looks like the boiler was lifted in 2020, and you know, progress is going on. I've got some notes here. So it just looks like a, you know, fantastic project, and we wait to see what happens in the future. But very exciting. This loco is absolutely stunning. There's not a blemish on it. I've spent the last half an hour, 40 minutes going over this in such fine detail, trying to find the fault, and I just can't. I mean, everywhere I look, everything from you know, the quality of the printing. I'm just trying to focus the camera in. There it goes. You can see the quality of the printing on there, to the badge on the side. I mean, it is so clear. There you go. Sorry, the camera's struggling to focus where I'm zooming in so far. And little details like on the pony truck at the back. Can you see how the suspension has been finished? Now, it's a shame about the wires, but I mean, that's the old technology which links the obviously links the pickup and the digital socket in the tender to the main loco. I mean, it's a little bit shame this plastic on top does look very plasticky, but you know, that's not a problem at all. Inside the cab, I mean, it's beautifully done. These windows look a little bit of an afterthought, but small price to pay. I mean, just the overall quality of the model. You know, the Gresley had faults, as simple as that, but this is absolute perfection. So I mean, it brings straight to the question, Hornby. This is Director Hornby. If you can do it on this one, why can't you do it on all your locos? I mean, this is absolutely exquisite, and the sheer weight of the loco. I mean, obviously with the die-cast body, you know, it's an extremely heavy loco. Anyway, let's give it a little run. Right, so on the controller, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it onto half power and high impedance. Okay, and then we'll come back over to the loco, and I'm just going to really slowly pull forward. Right, let's do that again. I'm gradually increasing the power. Let's do that one more time. Now there seems to be a spot. It's just beginning to creep, as you can see on the right hand side, and then it suddenly goes. Actually, it's not too bad a control. It's certainly, the motion is different to the Gresley. The Gresley motion was much more, I'd like to say refined. It's probably exactly the same, but this one doesn't seem to have the same really finite control that the Gresley had. I don't know what the difference is, but you can see on the motion on this, as I say, it's definitely, you know, it's not as complicated. These were, on the exterior, these are quite simplistic looking locos. Wow. It's still a beautiful runner. Right, let's take a look from the other side. Wow, beautiful. I'm just going to creep the power up very slowly. It's nice. Right, let's send it round the track. I'm finding it difficult to describe or to find the descriptive words that I want for this loco. To say I'm overwhelmed is an understatement. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful runner. It's perfection. It's got, you know, there's not a blemish on it. I've looked over it. I've been over it so many times, desperately looking for that thing to report back and say, oh yeah, it's as bad as the Nigel Gresley, and it's just not. It's just not. It's such a lovely loco. I'm so lucky. It's wonderful loco. Lovely subject matter. One of my favourite engines. You know, this particular, with the streamlining on there, just looks wonderful. Obviously, you know, okay, the motion isn't as complicated as some locos, but these southern ones, I mean, they're just, there's something about them, and to see it going round on the layout with such a perfected movement, I'm guessing the flywheel inside and everything else helps it. Maybe not as controllable as the newer Gresley. And obviously, as I said in the review, we've got the connecting wire between the tender and the loco. In some respects, I think this may be a little bit better. It looks a little bit more robust. If you remember on the Nigel Gresley, I was worried there's a little ball joint, and it looks very, very vulnerable. That doesn't look like it's going to have much longevity at all. So although there are some wires visible here, I think that's a small price to pay. But sort of, as I said in the review, message to Hornby, you can do it. You know, you just got to get your quality control sorted out and not let locos into the field like my Nigel Gresley. It just does you a disservice when you can produce models like this. So yeah, very, very lucky, very fortunate, lovely loco, and yeah, I'm really pleased I unboxed it and had a look at it. So yeah, anyway, we'll leave that one there. As I keep saying, you know, please, if you do like my videos, or if you're interested in this sort of thing, please do subscribe. I've got a lot of videos sort of in the pipeline that I'm working on, and I'm trying to, you know, I'm just doing this channel because I'm doing it for me, because I'm enjoying it and it's giving me something to do, and it's getting me involved deeper into my hobby. You know, and the bit that I'm finding most rewarding is when people leave me, you know, give me feedback, tell me about their locos, tell me about the history that I haven't picked up on these, and even correcting me and pointing out that no, that's not correct, you know, they did this. There was somebody who pointed out about the colour of the boxes to me. It never even dawned on me. You know, I've got Hornby 00 locos in the red boxes and the blue boxes. Never even dawned on me that Hornby have chosen the wrong colour for their 2-rail boxes, and it's just been wonderful. So if you can subscribe, then what I'm trying to do is it will then push the video to more people, and hopefully I'll reach out to more people to give me comments, which would just be great. So if you can do that, I'll be really, really appreciate it. If not to worry. I hope this has been of some interest, and as I say, we'll leave it there. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.